Well, great morning to each and every one of you that are out and about today. It is a brand new day, and we are once again thankful for another day that we have, that we get to be here. There's so many people in the course of COVID-19 that different things are happening at different times, but we are thankful that on a Wednesday, we are winning today. So today I am back once again with my friends of Ink Realty, and we also have Derrick Walls of Superior Real Estate Inspections here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So as you know, every single day we are coming on just to give you just some tidbits about what's happening in the real estate market. So before we jump into our discussion, gentlemen, if you will, can you give us one thing today that you're grateful for? Just give us one thing today that you're grateful for. We're going to start there as we got people that are tuning in from all of our networks, both Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, all the other different networks that we are streaming towards. We want to say good morning to them. All of our replay listeners, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. But let's just start. Robert, how about we start with you today? Let's talk about one thing today that we are grateful for, and then we'll jump into our real estate discussion.
Well, I'm grateful for just having the opportunity to still do what I do. I know a lot of people are out there and they can't. Restaurants are closing, a lot of small businesses are closing. But even though, Ink Realty is a small business, we are still able to work from home and do what we get to do, which is put people in the homes and help people achieve their goal of selling their home. So that's what I'm thankful for.
Awesome. That is such a good thing to have. And we are grateful for the jobs and the people that are out and about. Stephen, how about yourself?
I'm just thankful for one that I woke up this morning. Absolutely. Really just in great health. And I'm just happy to just be a part of the real estate world. I feel like that this is an opportunity for me to be able to bless some of my knowledge and the travels that I've experienced and over the years of a real estate professional and mortgage underwriter. So these are times where I'm excited to give people hope. So that's something that I'm really excited about today.
Man, that's awesome. Derrick, we appreciate you joining us today. Talk to us. What are you thankful for today?
I will reflect on what Stephen was saying first and foremost. Thank and praise our Lord and Savior for giving us the opportunity to see this new day. And with that, as far as a business perspective, man, I'm very thankful for being able to celebrate being in business for 15 years now, loving what I do just as much as I did 15 years ago. One thing I'll say that I'm thankful for, because I always try to find a positive and a negative. And that being said, with us going through this new COVID-19 protocol, it's giving me the opportunity to reflect on and improve some of our customer service, some of the things that we always want to be better at anyway. It's actually giving me more time to spend on the lines with customers, on the line with realtors, explaining things that we discovered during our inspection. So it really gave us the opportunity to enhance our customer service. So that's a positive in this environment that we're in today.
Man, that is great point. Great perspective. Again, we appreciate you taking some of your time to be here with us. So again, this is a great day. And I guess what I'm thankful for, and I've really been challenging people, and that simply is, I'm thankful for the manna that happens in our life. I've been really reflecting on the children of Israel and just that whole time of going from Egypt to the promised land, and they had to learn how to appreciate manna. And I'm going to stay just like that, and we'll move right into real estate today. This week, we have been focusing on the buyer aspect of the real estate process. And we had the privilege of being able to take some sneak peeks behind the scenes. Monday, for those that are watching and following us, on Monday, we caught Stephen actually at a property that he listed over the weekend, and he was showing us even some of the behind the scenes, putting the signs in the yards, and we were seeing that process go up. And then yesterday, we catch Stephen again out and about at a pre-sale construction meeting. And so he was there walking the property with the construction workers. And so we're seeing real estate take place every single day. And it is an item that's essential. So let's just jump in and share today let's go back through our tips first. I think it's important for us to remind people of our tips that we're given because people are listing homes. We see that every day. We're seeing listings of homes, and we are also seeing people start the process online. So let's talk about some of our valuable tips that we can offer people that are still wanting to move forward in real estate. Can we just go back through some of those tips we've given this week?
Well, I can go ahead and start it off. But the first one is just try to make everything that you're doing as virtual as possible. With the given pandemic that we're in, we're trying to limit people's contact, limit the time that we spend in front of people physically. So those items that we can take care of from a virtual perspective, let's do it that way.
Yeah. Stephen, you gave us a few tips even that day because you're actually at the house. Why don't you tell us a couple of those tips? I know that, washing the hands, but just kind of talk about some of those tips.
Yeah, one of the big things that I mentioned was about this checklist that can be inside of the homes that are being shown, where that homeowner has taken necessary time to disinfect the doorknobs, the light switches, the refrigerator, the bathroom faucets. I mean, different things like that. We know that it's common nature for someone to touch anything, but when you outside showing and you get back into your nest area, you want to immediately, make sure that your hands are clean. You may want to shower so you can kind of free yourself away from anything that may have contacted your clothing and your skin. So just definitely self-care and self-awareness of your actions is very important.
Yeah. So Derrick, we have you on the line today. And so of course you're with Superior Real Estate Inspections. And from your perspective, you come in, tell us when you come into the process in the home buying process, and maybe some of the tips that you're having to do yourself and that
Sure.
you're offering as well to some of the clients as you're still working during this time.
Sure, most definitely. As you mentioned, we do come in on a secondary phase. Once Steve and Robert have done their things, they've gotten their contract initiated, then we come in within that option period. That's that period of time that's critical for buyers that give them the opportunity to complete their due diligence. And we are one of the key factors in that due diligence process. And so some of the practices that we have implemented during this new phase of pandemic that we're going through is we're actually going in first and foremost. We ask the sellers when we put our request in to perform our services that they will vacate the property. And for the most part, we've gotten pretty good cooperation and feedback from sellers. There's been a small percentage of sellers that didn't comply, but we're still able to work around that too. We have a good stockpile of protective gear and equipment that each one of our inspectors wear when we go in, when we initiate the process. Before we get started, we go in and wipe the house down. We take our sanitizer pads and we clean all doorknobs, clean all light switches, everything that we're going to be coming in contact with. We also inform the sellers that we will be going through that process so that they're aware of it. And we somewhat changed our process with the buyers because oftentimes buyers want to attend, they want to be present. But again, as Rob mentioned, we're minimizing that and we're requesting that they come at the very end and we do our review outside of the property as opposed to inside. Because what we found from experts too is just the open air is a lot better, a much conducive environment versus being indoors. So that's just some of the changes we made.
Well, I love it, and the fact that we are in Texas and lately our weather has been still, great. It makes that easier to do in Texas than maybe some other parts of the country. So, no, I love that though. Great tips there. And for those that are listening, I want you to make sure you heard that your inspectors, they are coming in to make sure that you are getting the product that you say and that you think that you're getting. We know that this is a big investment. And so the real estate inspector plays a vital role to ensure that what was represented also has everything that it needs to. And then also maybe back to you, Robert and Stephen. Uh, how is this relationship, number one, from you as a realtor to the inspector and then back to the client? Why is this important even on your part to have a good inspector as a partner on your team?
I think the main thing is that you have to realize that everyone that you bring into your fold is part of the team. So it's not, well, my inspector said this, but that's not the truth. I mean, that's not the case. Inspectors are there to do a job, and if they do their job well, they're going to find things wrong with the house. I don't think there's been a perfect house built since Jesus. So that being said, they're gonna find issues wrong, but it's the fact that they understand what those issues are and what needs to be brought major attention to. And then there are some minor things that may be wrong that they still have to point out, but just making sure that everything is not blown out of proportion. Now, obviously, if it's a house that they need to run from as fast as they can, then yeah, that might need to be said as well, or at least alluded to, even if they can't say it directly. But yeah, that's very vital, because that's what they do. The same way that I've sold, hundreds of houses. I mean, he's probably looked at over thousands. So he's seen things happen, a lot more than I have per se.
Yeah, yeah. Stephen, any other point you want to shed light there?
Yeah. So let's not sugarcoat it. Inspections process is one of the scariest things that people looking to go through in this real estate journey, because once they found the property, they're excited. But we don't necessarily get excited, however, because we know that there's an inspection process that it has to be carried forward. And I think it's important to work with an inspector that's going to be honest and transparent. They are really unbiased. They're a third party, a very unbiased opinion. But at the same time, I look at inspectors, especially like Derrick, when you working with a young family, they may look at you as someone like a father figure in that home. What giving your advice and your opinion, as you go through that house, and they may ask you those tough questions, like, if you was buying this house, would you stay in the process of this home, or would you walk out? But I think that obviously you have to stay within your boundaries, right? But I think at the end of the day, working with an inspector is going to be very thorough about the process. I remember meeting Derrick. He talked about inspecting his own property when he was getting ready to purchase it, and some of that concerns that he had when he was buying his house, and that resonated with me. Now, and I realized how much of an attention, awareness that he puts on his own property, of course, and how that carried forward to other properties as well.
Yeah. Again, I think that it's a great thing, even that you guys are willing to have this conversation like this, because your responsibility to the client on every end of this is to make sure that not just I get you to a closing table, but I get you to the closing table with the product that you're going to be proud of, and that's not going to give you problems down the road, which is naturally going to impact and affect your business wherever you are at that point. Because, we live off of repeat and referral business. And so we want to have due diligence in everything that we do. So I love that. So the inspections are happening. After that part takes place, then we then get back into, if I say, do we get back into, we get back into negotiations? If we find some things, who starts paying for those things? I mean, does that start to happen at all in some of these processes?
Yeah, absolutely. I think anytime you go through the inspection process and you run away with some concerns, then you certainly have to look at what you negotiated up front just to get under contract. And then based on the items that come back, and how you and the seller may be, whether it's indifferent or there may be some things that one buyer may agree to, the seller may not agree to. So how do we find a common ground? And I think in this market, especially with COVID-19, you may find people that are flexible even through the inspection process, where that seller may be willing to agree to do more repairs than they initially would not have done. I think we kind of walk in the process, well, I'm not doing anything, from a selling perspective. But you really have to take a look at the inspection process, knowing that that's my house, that has all these concerns. And so when that mentality, settles in, then you really take the extra step to say, what, if this was my house, how would I feel about handing this house over to that buyer? And I think that's where we can kind of negotiate, whether it's price, reduce the purchase price, whether we, agree on repairs, or we agree with seller contributions. Maybe of course, there's going to be a cost of repair. Maybe we can negotiate that in the inspection period when we talk about, who's going to fix what. And if we're not fixing anything, maybe the repairs may cost about, $1,500 to $2,000, and the seller's willing to allow you to have your manpower, your people, your contractors, your dedicated professionals to fix said items, and they just want to give you the cost of that.
Gotcha. So Derrick, I have a question for you. So of course, Derrick, this is Derrick Walls with Superior Real Estate Inspections. Today I'm with Ink Realty again. It's Robert and Stephen Lewis at Ink Realty. They both companies service the Dallas-Fort Worth area in real estate. So Derrick, my question to you is there ever a time that me as a homeowner, and I'm thinking about selling my home, that I can contact you before I even start any of this process to maybe see what does my house look like from an inspection standpoint? Can I, as an individual homeowner, contact you directly?
Yes, sir. Most definitely can. Right now, I would say that is the exact term that we use for that is a pre-listing inspection.
Okay.
And it is just as you described it. It is an opportunity for homeowners to get an unbiased opinion, because as Stephen mentioned earlier, a lot of people really just don't see the forest for the trees when it comes to looking at their own homes. And they're really taken by surprise when they get our reports, because they're thinking, wow, I've been living here every day for the last 5-10 years. And here it is, you're pointing out things to me that I didn't even know about my own home. And one of the things that those pre-listing inspections will do, it will give you a different mindset. So right now, that probably accounts for about 10 to 15% of our business on the pre-listing side. Majority of our business is for buyers. But just to expand on what you're saying, and you guys could probably even relate to this. Sometimes you get into your home and you got that light switch that you have to jiggle to make it work, or you have to move a knob in a certain position. You get used to that. But then when we point it out in the report, it's like, oh, wow, yeah, I think I do. I need to get that fixed. So what that does is it allows us to bring people out of that numb state of getting accustomed to making things work. But of course, that's not going to be acceptable for the next buyer that comes on to buy your house. And oftentimes, too, we even get sellers to say that, as I'm flipping back over on the buyer side, but I'm giving a seller's perspective. Oftentimes, I will note in the report that something is not functioning properly or as intended. And the homeowner's there, which is one of the reasons we do request that they leave even outside of COVID-19. But homeowners will say, oh, yeah, that works. You just have to jiggle the knob a certain way, And so that's, again, they become numb to their deficiency. So that's where our importance come in, is pointing those things out and documenting.
No, great point. And of course, for me, I'm sitting here, I've been in sales for over 20 years myself. So you start seeing angles on both ends of this. And it's wonderful, though, that direct people are coming. Then you see the need for why you to have your real estate professionals involved in this process, because again, we see and sell a home 1, maybe 2 or 3 times in the lifetime of our purchasing power as a consumer, where you see these things all the time and know which ones are major versus which ones are minor. You know, I used to always define problems with, is it a style issue or is it a substance issue? So which one do we really need? So when you guys on the real estate, bless you. See,
Bless you, sir.
first sneeze, we kind of watch you. Second sneeze, we're getting wonder. And the third one, you're going to the hospital. So we just want to know, we practice COVID-19 thinking. So you're at 2. If you sneeze one more time, you're on your way to the hospital. But back to what we were saying though, on the real estate end of this, what are some of the things that you would tell your client to say, we got to make sure we fix this, or this is just makeup? This is just, we can get through this and you can fix it to yourself. What's some of those major items maybe that could surface out, that very rarely surface out? But the reason I'm bringing this out is because we're here to inform our clients and let them know we're working for you. And we want to make sure that you're happy with your purchase. You didn't just get there and just sign something. So I want to maybe bring out a couple that maybe are those that we need to see.
I think from, since we've been talking at it from the seller's perspective, when you talk to sellers and you're walking through their home and they're telling you what things that, may not be just quite right. You got to jimmy that light switch, or that switch over there doesn't work, so we got to plug something else in over here. Those are the things that would make it uncomfortable for a buyer to come in. So especially those things like a light switch, where it's possible where when the buyer is coming in and they're trying to turn a light switch on and it's not working, that leaves the buyer with a negative impression.
Yeah.
Same thing if you're walking into a house in the summer in Texas, if the AC isn't working, that's going to leave a negative impression on a buyer. So all of those things that are going to leave a negative impression, or at the end of the day, an appraiser is going to walk through the house. They're going to require some of those things to be done. So whether you do it on the front end or the back end, it needs to happen. So those are the types of conversations that we have with sellers, saying like, hey, when was the last time you got your AC serviced? Because it's 80 degrees, but it says it's running at 72. Yeah, we probably need to get that handled because it's gonna come up later.
Okay, so AC units. Okay, any other major ones that we would need to be looking at?
Yeah, I would say here in North Texas, the biggest issue, Derrick, is foundations. We in the North Texas region, we have a very high elasticity to our soil, meaning that it reacts pretty drastically to moisture levels, a lot more so than any other region in the country, for that matter. And so, therefore, that reaction of movement that we have with our soil, it does tend to have a significant impact on the integrity of our foundation. So, foundation is probably one of the most costly repairs that you'll run into, come into as you get into a real estate transaction. And so getting a good assessment on that particular component is an essential part of the inspection process. You also mentioned just some of the key components that are, that tend to sidetrack one of your real estate transactions. The foundation is probably first and foremost, and then the roof and roof replacements, because we do have a higher tendency to have hailstorms than anywhere else in the country. So those two components are probably the largest cost that you can incur throughout the real estate transaction from a repair perspective. And so those are things that come up pretty frequently, and some of the things that we tend to hone in on.
Yeah. So let me say this. We're coming to a close, but we have a couple items I want to make sure we bring out. First off, I want to thank both Ink Realty for providing this forum on a daily basis. Robert and Stephen Lewis are here along with their team. They have a team of individuals that are a part here in the DFW area. And then we also have today on Derrick Walls with Superior Real Estate Inspections. And so we want to appreciate both of you and both your companies coming on to provide this valuable content for us today in regards to not just COVID-19, but COVID-19. So I have a question though. I'd imagine there's a lot more people that are at home today. Stephen, I'm going to see if you'll answer this. I want you to answer this though, that a lot more people that are at home, and with being at home, we see more things potentially because we're at home. What, speak to that right now? You know, they're at home. What, speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think sheltering in and staying at home a lot more allow you to really just wander around the home and notice things that you may not have noticed, given that you may be off work at a certain time and get right to, preparing for your night. But I think staying in the home, you're going to be able to see that, well, if you might be running the AC a lot longer, especially if the weather, picks up a lot more. You're going to be running the lights a lot longer. You may be running the water a lot longer. So you're going to be doing things a lot more in your home now that you're sheltering in and not going anywhere. So I would say more importantly, when you do, it's like mowing your lawn. When you mow your own lawn, you're going to be finding things that you would not have found if you let somebody else mow your lawn. So I take that thought into your own home, being that you're going to be there and and it's like weeds. You got weeds in your backyard, and you may not have noticed the weeds in your backyard.
Oh God, you're bowling down. Now he's over here bowling down my alley because he's bowling down my alley. I'm telling you, let me just say this while you're there, and I'm gonna pivot right back to you. Last week, I hate to even say this, but well, I'm telling you, you driving to the front part of my house, it looks pretty good, right? You come to the front. But unfortunately, I had to see stuff from my backyard. And my backyard had, I mean, the weeds was just because it just had rained so much. And so on top of the rain, and top of it getting warmer, them things just, I mean, they sprouted up like, they were so grown that I didn't even want to try to go attack them. That's how grown them jokers were. So,
Right.
But keep going. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understand what you're saying.
You notice those things. If we were more on our own line, we would be able to see those concerns and those issues, that we don't have to, really have somebody else point out, because we see it right in front of us walking up perimeter. I think that's the same thing when you're walking throughout your home. You're going to notice those things. And I think it's better to address it now before it mushrooms into something a lot bigger, which becomes a larger problem. And I would even say, when I recently sold my house, I took the time to get the AC fixed, get the drip pan replaced in the attic under the AC, address paintings on the wall, different little nicks in the garage. I mean, you take those things, and yes, you may delay getting those items taken care of, but when it comes time to sell, which you may be preparing for that, but there are certain things that may get put back on the back burner and delayed because we're not taking the initiative to address it right then and there. But I think in real estate as a whole, once you find things around your house, let's just try to take care of those things right then and there. I recently walked a perimeter on a home for a lady that's getting ready to sell. And as I interviewed with her, I noticed that she lived in the home pretty hard with her family. And I said, ma'am, I think it's important that we get an inspection on this house, because I'm looking at you look at the exterior of the siding, you got weathered wood and, and all these things. And I told her she needed an inspection, but come to find out, I did not get that listing. However, I found out that she dropped out of contract 4 times and couldn't pass inspection because, again, I advised her to do the inspection before you list this house, so you can see what I see. And because of that, it delayed her from getting her house, because they needed to sell before they purchased. And when you run into sensitive time frames like that, you're going to run into problems in your own home. But you don't. No one wants to go out of contract 4 times due to the inspection process that the buyer says they do not feel comfortable that you as the owner neglected to take care of your home.
Did you ask her, did you tell her specifically that she lived hard?
No, but I said this house has been lived in pretty good. And I think it's not hard. I tell you hard.
Listen, we got that, and that was a great point. All right, so guys, we're coming out. We're almost out of time. But let me tell you, we said this yesterday. There's so many people right now that are looking for jobs all over America. And we realize that the great state of Texas is probably one of the greatest places to live. So if we can, we're going to end this way today. I'm going to end with the question, and I want you to give me the reason why somebody should live in the great state of Texas. All of our people that are relocating. We got great companies up in the north portion of DFW. We have a lot of things happening here in the great state. So let's we're going to give them the top 5 reasons why they should live in Texas. If you're relocating, you want to come here, we're going to give you the top 5 reasons today that you should live in the great state of Texas. Are y'all ready? Let's go. Number 1, who's up?
I would say this. I'm off the motto that Ford says, we're built for tough. I think Texas is a tough state that weathers the storm when it comes to concerns around this, like we're in right now, pandemic. Like we, as Texas, we have a very tough skin around this state of Texas, where we can weather financial issues, financial risk, and like since the Great Depression, like we're built for tough.
Gotcha. Number 1, we're built for tough. Number 2.
I would say number 2 is the fact that we don't have a state income tax. I mean, you even hear the Dallas Mavericks. That's one of their selling points to their players. You know, is you get to keep more of your hard-earned dollar. So I think that's a very enticing incentive to come to the state of Texas. And then more specifically in Dallas-Fort Worth, we're just a progressive city, man. I mean, there's a lot of things going on, a lot of development. Our job market is strong, so there's just a wealth of opportunities for anyone that moves to Dallas-Fort Worth.
All right, we got 2 and 3 right there.
Right, there you
so
go.
No state income tax and progressive city here. And now we talking about Texas, but now because we all from up here, we're going to really speak about DFW. So Houston, I got a few people on here from Houston. We love you. Austin, we love you. San Antonio. I mean, we come down every once in a while, but you know, we're speaking about DFW right now.
Every once in a while.
Yeah, we only go to San Antonio every once in a while now.
Right.
Number 4, Robert.
I'm going to say cost of living. You get more bang for your buck. Everything's bigger in Texas.
Yes.
Man,
especially the houses.
Man, and you know what? And let me round out number 5 today. Number 5, I think we got the most mega churches that are next to each other. I ain't been to another city that has as many mega churches as we have in the close proximity of one another. So we just gave you the top 5 reasons for all of our relocators to come to Texas. We have some great opportunities to work with Ink Realty. You got Ink Realty, the great team to work with. We have superior real estate inspections that will inspect your home to help to make sure that your investment it matches what you say and what you know that you want. What a team, what a partnership. Couldn't do it one without another. And how excited we are to offer you these services. Don't forget, real estate is happening right now. They're listing homes, they're selling homes, we're inspecting homes, which means you ought to be buying homes. So again, this has been our time together today. My name is Derrick Butts with Assist You to Win. I'm here with my friends, my partners, and I want to say to you, if you're going to live today, you ought to win today. We'll see you next time.